too much of your time. I'd like to introduce you all to the one, the only Courtney DeMarco. Thank you so much for being here with us, and I will let you take it away, my girl. And I do think you should have ability to share your screen in case you need it.
All right, awesome. I am going to share my screen. I'm not going to try to talk and do this all at the same time. I'm just going to get it done. So let's see. Can you see that?
We sure can.
All right. So here's the thing. So Jill and I are girlfriends, right? We're all in this industry together. And she asked me to talk a little bit on the topic of networking. Now, I actually teach a 2-hour elective on networking because relationships and networking is 100% how I built my business along with social media over what, decades. I am going to today, in about 25 minutes, give you the biggest nuggets and takeaways. And what I'm hoping, and the reason why I have a slideshow up, is that you can just take a picture and kind of come back to it. So I'm not going to get so in deep and so granular, but just going over some different tips and things that I have done and that have worked very well for me and a lot of my friends. And then you can have some of these little screenshots and then work on them and implement them into your business. This is crucial in 2024. And I call it building an empire because I'm not trying to build a little tiny baby like junky sandcastle. I want the whole entire thing, baby. So, and that takes time, but the whole like foundation of building your empire certainly comes from networking. And that's of course how we get paid. So I don't know what happened here. Here we go. I'm just going to go back. Okay, so one of the things, just to start from the very beginning, before you even show up in a room, before you post anything on social media, the biggest question that you have to answer is, what problem do you solve? Because what people are going to look for in you is what solution you have to offer. How can you help them? And the answer is not just as easy as that you can help them buy a house. And it's not just that you can help them buy, sell, or invest in real estate. You really need to get out an old school piece of notebook paper and really put down and plot out what it is that you can do to help solve problems for everyday people that you're running into in everyday life. So it is more than just the real estate piece. So having that all charted out is going to get you very far, especially once you get into rooms and start having conversations with people. And I would say, I have a planner, so I keep adding to this because when I'm talking to people and I hear pain points that they have, I think, well, I could help with that. I know somebody that could help with that. So it really goes deeper. How can you help people? How can you solve their problems? And what value do you bring? So if I'm saying this and you don't know, these are good things to be sitting down with your cup of coffee or your tea or your juice and getting them together, because people don't buy goods and services. They don't just buy real estate. They actually buy relationships, stories, and of course, magic. I'm a big fan of stars and shining bright, and certainly the magic. So Seth Godin said this, and it is so true, because in real estate, we don't just sell real estate. We don't just do mortgages and title and things like that. We really are not only marketers, but we are the creators of relationships. Everything that we do starts with some of the relationships that we connect together. And that's why this piece is so important. So again, on another piece of paper, who is in your tribe? So when we think about networking, just even going to events, who we're going to meet, there has to be a why behind it. There has to be, well, why would we go to this group? Why would we go to that event? So as a real estate agent, who do you need in your network? Who are the people that you're trying to engage with, to be in front of? So obviously consumers, people looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, but also other business people. And we're going to elaborate on that a little bit. But I know back in the day, I feel like I say that a lot lately. Who should you appreciate and or introduce? So I don't know if any of you are familiar with going to BNI groups or other networking groups like that, but they are very much, who do you know that somebody else should know? And our business is still so the same. I have people every day. They need a contractor. They need a drywaller. They need somebody to help with electric. They need somebody to do a foundation. As an expert, I don't just know the names of people. I know the names of people. I've done business with them. I've experienced their service. I've actually given them referrals and received them from them. And we know how each other operates. These are people that I'm always looking to appreciate and introduce. And I do have a method to that. So one of the things when I talk to especially newer real estate agents is they'll say to me, well, how do I know who my sphere of influence is? I go to a lot of meetings and people say to me, sphere of influence, you have to work on your sphere of influence. And I will say, if you are literally new starting out, or if you have been around and you have not done this lately, I ask you to open up your cell phone, go to your contacts, and actually look and see how many contacts you have, because you probably have more than 200. And you only need to have 200 contacts in your phone to make $100,000 in 1 year. That is like a proven statistical fact. I didn't do the science on it, but somebody did. And I believe it's true because I have thousands of contacts in my phone. And besides CVS and Walgreens and my daughter's orthodontist, one of the things that I do is I open up at the beginning of the month, I will open up at A, and I will call until I can't call anymore, just having conversations with people. I know when I'm done for the day because I'll screenshot at the last name, and that's how I know where to pick back up when I'm making phone calls to my sphere of influence. And I don't just call people and say, hey, did you know that interest rates are 7% today? I don't call and say, hey, do you need a mortgage today? I call and check in. I see how they're doing. Many, many times when you call, people know what I do for a living. So what happens is they ask me, well, how are the interest rates? What's happening with the inventory? Is it still a good time? And I don't want you to be discouraged if you make a phone call and they don't ask that right away. If you make 25 phone calls a day, chances are a majority of the people, the conversation is going to go there. But even if it doesn't, you're still staying top of mind and staying in front of people and staying connected to people. The more times you call out, the more conversations you have, the more opportunities that you will have to set up a listing appointment. And the Lord knows that what we really need on this world right now is just more listings. It would solve 99% of my earthly problems. How many contacts are in your phone? If you haven't checked and looked to see how many you have, you probably have over 1,500. That is your sphere of influence. If they're in your phone, you have met them. You have a reason that they're in your telephone, so they know who you are. This is so much easier than cold calling. Now, I'll do a cold calling throwdown with anybody that wants to invite me. I will probably bring some wine and maybe eat some pizza because that makes me feel fancy. I'll call cold calls. I started off in this business as a telemarketer, but I will tell you, it is easier to call people who already kind of know who you are. And that's why starting with the people in your telephone is really the place to start. But this is like my big ticket item. It's called the A to Z. So I literally have a piece of notebook paper, and it started on paper, and now obviously it's on an Excel spreadsheet. But if you imagine a notebook paper and the alphabet has 26 letters in it, A, B, C, D, and literally do all the way from A to Z on a piece of paper. And here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. When you think of a job profession that starts with A, we're thinking of job professions, an accountant. Who is my favorite accountant? Who actually does my taxes? Who actually specializes in the things that I know that a lot of my realtors are going to be interested in, right? Self-employment and things like that. Well, I do know somebody. And so the conversation would go like this. So I put the person's first name, last name, I put their phone number and email if I have it. Once I get into conversation with them, I'll put things like their birthday and other kind of pieces, but the conversation goes like this. Hey there, Tim. Listen, you've been doing a really good job on my taxes. I love working with you. I know that you've done taxes for my sister and for my mom. Like, we've all had really good results, really pleased with the results. You know that I'm in mortgage lending, and I talk to people every day. People do ask me about accounting services and things like that. I'd love to be able to recommend you. And of course, when you're talking to people, if someone should ask you about financing, mortgages, refinances, and things like that, I'd love for you to recommend me. I'd love for us to have a partnership like that. What do you think? Oh, that sounds good to you? Awesome. So you know what? I'm just going to stop by your office this week. I'm going to drop off some cards. I've got some really cute little hand sanitizers and things like that. So I'll go ahead and get those over to you. Maybe I'll pick up some of your cards and then I'll check back in. But I go one step further because I want this person to see that I'm actually going to recommend them. And social media can really help, right? So obviously the phone ringing and someone saying, hey, Coco told me to call you. That's a huge win. That is a huge win. People love getting referrals. And if you're giving them referrals, then you will be top of mind to get referrals from them. But anytime I see somebody ask on social media, hey, I'm looking for a tax preparer, I tag his name, I do a screenshot of the phone number, and then give a couple comments. And that does set your referrals apart on social media, because a lot of people will tag a name, but people are so instant gratification. If you include the phone number as well and a tag and say, oh, this person saves me money or this person gets me money, people will see that one first. And when that tax preparer's phone starts ringing, believe me, you will be top of mind. He probably knows other realtors. You will be his favorite realtor if you are helping him make money as well. So it doesn't just stop there, right? A, so what could I put in the spot of B? Beautician. I know that's my beautician is one of my best sources of everything, right? You go see her, you tell her everything, not just you, everybody else that goes to her too. So understand that when people come to see her and they're talking about they want to buy a house or they want to move or their house is too small, or gosh, they've always wondered what it would be like to start real estate investing and they've seen it on TV. Your beautician knows exactly who they should call. And if you are helping fill your beautician's chair, it is this whole relationship. And I've talked about this for over a decade because I've had the same girl forever. I'm boring. I don't have any like really exciting hair. But my hairdresser gets lots of like swag from me at Christmas time. And when I go back to the salon and see all my Yetis with my logo and just all laying around, I'm like, oh, so working. Those are things that you can do too. So as you go through the list, A, accountant, B, beautician, C, what could be a carpet cleaner. You literally want to have somebody that you have worked with or done something with for every occupation. Now, if you get to some of these weird letters and you're like, I do not know anybody that starts with an X. I don't know a career with an X. I don't know any xylophone players. This could be somebody with the letter X. You can get creative. If you don't have an X, figure out something else. But the whole point is that you want to have at least 26 other business professionals, because what's happening is in your cell phone, you probably have people that you've met, friends, family. These are actual other business professionals who are out there talking to people who have an audience that they're looking for business and they can help refer business to you. So you want to have 26 people. Now, I will tell you that through the years, my list has gotten so much bigger because of the territory that I cover. So I'm not just in the city that I'm in anymore, although that's where you should start. You want to start in your hometown because that's where you know the most amount of people. So that's where you're going to be the most effective. But I have friends out in Menor. Some of you live far away. So you're not going to go to the cake lady in Hudson if you live in Menor. But gosh, I spend so much time out in Menor now that it's like I do have connections and contacts out there as well. So now I really am an expert connecting people very specifically to people in their specific areas who actually are tried, tested, and true and do a good job. So you want to get your list of A to Z people and begin calling them on a regular basis. You want to drop off your cards. You want to make sure they know that you're looking to do business and you're going to send business their way. You need to figure out who your biggest raving fan is, though. And this takes time. So if you're saying to me, like, I've never sold a house, I have no idea. Well, we're going to work on getting you to have a raving fan. But for those of you who have sold a bunch of houses, you want to think back and think of who was so happy, who was so grateful, who said, you changed my life. You moved a mountain for me. I can't believe I'm a homeowner. These people need to get a little bit of extra attention from you because they are going to be some of your biggest referral sources. No money, no marketing dollars can outweigh what kind of referrals you will get from the people who will sing your praises. And those type of referrals mean so much. So when somebody is so elated and you did such a good job and you help them with all of the things, they will tell their friends. But that kind of goes away after they're in their house and they're happy. It's like you kind of fade away, and that's what you don't want to have happen. These people need to get holiday cards from you. They need to get little handwritten notes from you from time to time, little pop-ins, anything you can do to stay top of mind with your raving fans, and trying to make at least one raving fan a month, because then at the end of the year, you have 12 raving fans. So now it's like, what if I just had 12 realtors going around telling every single person how absolutely amazing and fabulous I was and what a great job I did? Well, I mean, I would love that. So and I'm trying to have an army of people doing that, this whole army of raving fans saying, Coco is great. Coco is fabulous. You need to meet Coco. And that's exactly what you are looking to do. So if you put this all together, and we haven't even left the house yet, we haven't even showed up to a networking event, but we're getting there. You have all of the people in your telephone that you need to be calling regularly. I like to call these people on Monday, wake up, get your coffee. I'll go through, I will make phone calls until I talk to 25 people. Now, sometimes you have to dial a lot more to get 25 people going, but I will spend a whole day having conversations on a Monday. That's how I do it. If you need to break it up, it should be on your calendar though. Then following up and calling and having conversations with my professional contacts, and then checking in with my raving fans. These different sections of people are a part of my lead generation every single week. All right, I'm going to move on from this because you've all got the picture. So here's one of the things that I think I'm most excited to talk about, and it is going to events and being a part of groups, because a lot of you know that my favorite group is the Women's Council of Realtors. So for those of you who are members, thank you for being here. I appreciate your beautiful faces on today, and I cannot wait to see you all next week at the panel. I love being a part of groups. There are professional groups, and these are fun and these are great, and they fill my bucket. And what happens is they keep me abreast of all of the information that's happening in our industry, and it makes me a subject matter expert. Now, if you're close to me, you know that sometimes I'll say, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting so many texts and emails." Anytime there's an event happening in our industry, people will text me and email me and say, "What are we supposed to wear? Is there going to be food there? Are there drinks?" You know, and I'm like, well, they could go to the website, but you know what? I love that they're reaching out to me because I know, because I do know. And then it gives me the ability to quickly add value and to have relationships with people in these groups. So there's a whole umbrella of different groups that you can be a part of in real estate. One of my favorite ones is the Women's Council. These are all groups that I belong to. So I would say to you, you know, you are a part of NAR if you're a realtor, which means you're a part of Ohio Realtors, which means that you're already a part of a local realtor board. Once you've paid your dues and you're a part of it, there's other activities that you can go and sign up for and be a part of and try to get more out of your membership. Now, some of the groups down below, like the Women's Council, the Alliance, Realtist, you would need to pay additional memberships, but there could potentially be other referrals and opportunities that would come along with those membership dues. But I want you to look down at the bottom one, brokerages and clubs, brokerage clubs. A lot of brokerages have different affinity groups, multicultural groups, other groups that you could be a part of. So I know, like Jill at Keller Williams, you've got KW Brown, right? You've got Keller Williams Clarity, you've got the Rainbow Network. These are all multicultural groups that you could be a part of with inside your brokerage to meet people from across the country. Well, why do you want to meet people from across the country? It's great to have connections that are like-minded, but also they don't sell houses in Cleveland and you do. So it opens up a more broad ability to be able to receive referrals from people across the country. And so some of my friends from Women's Council specifically have said that they have made an abundance of between an extra $15,000 to $30,000 a year from referrals from people from across the country. So some people will say, well, why do I want to go to events with a bunch of other realtors? Number one, the referrals from people across the country can be great, or from different parts of Ohio or different counties, right? So referrals, but it's also so that you can meet people that are in business doing what you're doing, so that when you have that transaction with somebody, you're not, well, who are you? When did you get started? I've never heard of you before. No, they have heard of you. They've actually seen you. They know exactly who you are. And it can make a transaction go a little bit differently when the person on the other side of the phone or the other side of the contract knows who you are. Having relationships in the industry can be very, very crucial. And then, you know, down the road, there's always people are unhappy, or they're looking to move, or they're looking to join a team, or they're looking for advice. You want to have people who are also educated and very knowledgeable in our industry to be able to talk to and to collaborate with. So iron definitely sharpens iron. And yet, we need to make sure that we're in front of the consumer, because those are the people going to also buy, sell, and invest in real estate with us. This one is huge because I could be very busy hanging out over here, in my professional groups, but I need to make sure that I'm out in my community and hanging out with the consumers. So I will ask myself these two different questions. We'll see this on the next slide when I'm getting ready to go events. I will ask myself specific questions. I could be busy from sun up to sundown. I could be at an event all day, every day, and I have to be purposeful and very intentional. And I challenge you to do the same. I want you to look around in your community and see, is there a chamber of commerce? Is there a Rotary? What about your children's school? Are there different community events, neighborhood watches, even community groups on Facebook? I'll live for some community groups on Facebook because I could accomplish a lot in a short amount of time from my couch. Please don't forget about passion and philanthropy. We should all be giving back and giving in the communities that we serve anyway. But when you connect with people on a level of passion like that, it is just something very special and different there. And of course, your church, your place of worship. And then there are consumer groups that you can pay to be a part of, like BNI, Working Women Connection, Am Spirit. There's a million different ones. I don't belong to any of these groups anymore because I belong to so many to the left. But I have created my own groups through my phone, my professional list, my A to Z, my raving fans, my Facebook community group. So I'm doing those activities in my own parameters. So here's what I ask myself before I go to any event. Who's going to be there? What is the event? What's going to happen? Obviously, I need to know when it is and where it is because I'm going to need to get it on my calendar. If I don't have it on my calendar, you might as well I won't be there. But why? What outcome am I going to get at the event? How am I going to do it? Is it going to be virtual? Is it going to be in person? What's the time? My time is money. And I'm not saying this, but if it takes me an hour to get there and an hour to get home and I have to be there for an hour and a half, is it going to be worth all of those hours of my time to be there? I really need to know all of the details before I choose, especially you could be in a position where there's two events happening at the same time. How do I know which one is going to be worth my time? These are the questions that I ask myself before I commit to an event, whether it's free or I'm purchasing a ticket. And I always make a goal for myself before I go to the event. So I know that there will be some of you that potentially are going to the ACAR event tonight, and that's great. How many business cards are you going to collect? How many people are you going to introduce for yourself? So you're in charge of you. I can't be in charge of you for this. You need to know before you walk in the door, before you go tonight, I'm going to meet 5 new realtors. I'm going to add 5 new contacts to my telephone. I'm going to get 5 new business cards. I'm not leaving until I do that. And then when you get there, of course, you're going to say hello and talk to the people you know. It's very comfortable to talk to the people you know. I am guilty as charged. I see my friends, I go running, I'm hugging, I'm kissing, I'm taking pictures. I need to meet 5 new people. Now, as you go through, you're seeing people that you do know and deepening those relationships, and that's a part of it. You can add that to your list. I'm going to have conversations and fellowship with 5 people I already know, and I'm going to meet 5 new friends. These are the type of goals that I make for myself every time I go to an event. So if it's a realtor event, or if it's a community event, because what I'm always looking to do is add those new contacts to my telephone, add more people to my A to Z list, and make those relationships so that I have people to call and engage with on social media so that I can close more deals. Everything that I'm trying to do and everything that you're probably trying to do boils down to closings. So these are the questions I ask myself before I go to anything. Okay, how do I stay top of mind with people though once I've gone and met them? So I go to the event tonight and I say hello. I'm going to say hello to probably a couple hundred of my friends from the industry, and I'm hoping that there will be 5 new people there that I can meet. I'm going to add them to my phone. I'm going to add them to my email stuff. I will add them on social media. This is huge. Once you leave the event though, what do you do with the cards? What do you do with the phone numbers? What do you do with all of it? You've got to stay top of mind with the new people you've met. So it's not just a one and done. You don't just go and get their card. I used to go to events, I would collect so many cards and then I'd come home. And then when I'd be changing purses, I'd have all these cards. I don't do this anymore, but I would be like, oh God, I have too many cards. I would throw them away. That's not it, right? So being very purposeful. I follow up with people. I give them a call. I will shoot them a text. I add them on social media. So I have to be very, very purposeful about my friends list. I probably have 1,000 people waiting. I was at 5,000 and I deleted a couple people that unfortunately had passed away because I can't add any new friends. And yet if I meet new people, I do want to add them to social media. So then I can engage with them there and stay top of mind. They say, oh yeah, that's the person I just met. So I'll follow up with phone calls, text messages, add them on social media. Depending on the situation, I might send them an email. But how many of you have wrote a power note in a while? How many of you have actually got out a blue pen, opened up a blank card that you got on Amazon or Target, and actually wrote somebody a note? If I meet somebody new, especially if we had a really great conversation, I'll send them a card if their address is on the business card that they gave me. I'm so happy I got to meet you. I really loved hearing about how you broke your leg and then ran a marathon. Like, whoa, you are amazing, right? And people love getting a power note because we're in this digital world. It's like people don't get them as much anymore. So that's huge. Love doing videos. This is a whole separate, social media class. I send a lot of virtual videos. So if you have ever got one for me, then you are special because those sometimes are harder because you got to use your face. But I'll hold my phone up and down and do little video voicemails and send them to people. Thinking about you, proud of you. I saw what you're up to. Congratulations. Great response in sending those to people through social media, but I will pop by places. I will get my donuts or get my trinkets, and I will actually go to places, pop by, visit people, especially those A to Z, anybody new that I'm meeting. And of course, I live for events, hosting my own and going to other ones. These are the ways that I stay top of mind with all of my networking because it's not just about showing up, it's about all the follow up that you have to do after to make the fact that you're going to these events and being a part of the activities that are going to absolutely be worthwhile. Now, this last one, you see I've got the font very large here. And this isn't to hurt anybody's soul. And I am sitting here with a ponytail and some very overly peeling skin right now. But when I say show up, you have to show out. I'm gonna take this down so that you can, I just want to stop sharing my screen for a minute to have this conversation because I feel like it's like a little serious piece to sort of end on. And when you go to a networking event, remember that when people are choosing to give referrals, when they're choosing to work at a brokerage, when they're choosing to work for a leader or to be on a team, when they're choosing to send you business, do you look like somebody that they would want to be in business with or that they would trust with their business? And so what I'm saying to you is especially when you're starting out, or whatever. It can be hard, but you got to get on Amazon. You got to get a blazer. You got to get a pair of pumps. Or for men, it's a pair of loafers. And no matter how you feel, if you're choosing to go to that event, brush your hair, put a pair of earrings on, break out the mascara. You need to look like somebody that they want to do business with. And yeah, I get critiqued a lot for having this conversation, but I want you to think about some of the most successful realtors that you know. What do they show up looking like? And there's always the exception to the rule. I know that there's some sporty people that show up in ball caps and things like that now, but I want you to think about some really successful people and they show up like they are ready for business. And that is one of the key elements when you show up and you start shaking hands and introducing yourself to people in your community and in this profession. People choose to work with people that they would trade places with. So that is one of the personas that you will need to help carry you through at successful networking. So, I mean, listen, I'm going to have my hair done tonight and a beautiful dress. This event is celestial tonight for those of you who are going. So it'll be a lot of glitz and glam. But if I go into an office, I've got on my trousers and some high heels and my hair is hopefully brushed and in its place. So that is one of the things that will help you stand apart from others when people are making decisions. So I challenge you to elevate your look as well. And then start incorporating some of these different tips and then let me know how they go. What do you think, Joe?
It's all perfect. You are so wonderful. I could not agree more. We thank you so much. And real quick, before you go, if anybody has questions, feel free to unmute or mention anything in the chat. Something I actually took so many notes myself, Courtney, and even saying about like getting the business cards or when you were talking about like business to business referrals, then what do we do with it? Like, we will introduce ourselves, and you said something that like opened the door that, just so you know, I am going to be following up. Like, I will come back to see how it was. Like, I think we'll meet people and then it dies. So you gave me so many little ahas today. I thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor to be here, and I'm so grateful for my friends that showed up. I see your beautiful faces. I see you waving, and I love you all. Anybody that wants to reach out, message me. There's so much more with networking on social media that I love to share. So message me on social media and we can connect. And if I will see you tonight, well, let's take a photograph together. Otherwise, I will see you all soon.
Thank you, Courtney.
Jill, thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Have fun tonight.
Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.